to me kind of weird, and it's like recreating a recreating a offline space online. And like, have you ever watched the TV show Upload?
Yes.
Um, yeah,
Yes.
they have those like
Yep.
goggles, go like the
Yep.
alternate reality goggles, and they wear like the scuba diver swimsuit thing that has
Yep.
all the sensors to like stimulate touch.
But welcome, Fedi Friends, to episode 30 of Fireside Fedi. I'm your host, Ozone. Fireside Fedi is a show about folks within the Fediverse. If you're seeing this, you are a part of the Fediverse. Yes, even those folks that are on alternative platforms, you are an adopted Fedizen for right now. With me today, which I'm very excited to talk to her, is Emelia Smith. Emelia has a fascinating background. She entered university at 16. She's a trans woman. She struggles with MCAS. In 2020, she founded Unobvious Technology, which aims to improve the safety, security, and profitability of sex workers and advance the adult industry. She's involved with the Nivenly Foundation, and she's involved with Trusted Safety, with IFTAS, which is aiming to help make a better, safer internet for internet moderators. And finally, for this intro at least, you're probably running some of her code right now. So, first and foremost, uh, how would you like to be addressed?
Amelia, she, her.
Amelia, she, her. Okay, not Techno Queen. What was it? It was
No,
something on your
Tech Princess is the joke.
Tech Princess. Okay.
It that actually comes from a conference where I was sick of going to tech conferences all the time, wearing like just jeans and a t-shirt or something.
Yes.
So I ended up buying like a really over-the-top ball gown and dressing up as
Yes.
a princess for a tech conference just to kind of make light of it. Although I have had one or two people get offended by that moniker, um, thinking that it was some sort of feudal thing, and I'm like, no, it's literally just a joke about wearing ball gowns to tech conferences.
Okay. So yeah, when I saw that, I like that's literally on one of the questions I was going to ask you about. I want to hear about that. Like, what was the reception? How did you feel? Like, what do you still have the ball gown?
Oh yeah, it's just over in the closet here.
Can you
Um,
easily grab it? I would love to see it.
yeah, I
No,
think so.
okay, let's see it. And I
I
love
mean,
this idea.
it is just the skirt. So it's
Oh my
like
god!
it is a huge, like this thing weighs
Yeah.
about 2 kilograms. So,
What's that in freedom units?
ooh, it would be probably a pound at least.
Okay. Okay.
Quite heavy.
Yeah. I mean, I've
It's like,
never worn a ball gown. I've never worn a skirt. Yeah, I could say that
I mean,
confidently.
it's got a layer of batting underneath it
Yeah,
to
yeah,
have
yeah.
sort of padding beneath the tool, and it's about a centimeter thick, half an inch thick, of like solid foam padding, or
Okay,
something like that.
Logal is saying it's about 4.4 pounds.
Oh, okay. I
That's a
always
good
get the
weight.
pound to kilogram conversion wrong.
Yeah, me too. Well,
Uh,
I get freedom
I'm
units
getting pretty
to.
good at Fahrenheit conversion though.
I can guesstimate that one. That's
Mm.
no, I love that. But I want to talk more about that. But let's take a step back first. And we always talk about how did you get to where you're at today? And you and I had a conversation. I find it fascinating. So you go into whatever you want, whatever you don't, and we'll take our time and talk about all different pieces.
Sure. So you mentioned that I was involved in Twitter. Basically, at the time, I was doing a lot more stuff with the sex worker community, and I was also trying or dabbling with doing sex work myself. I'd gone through a bit of a rough patch in my tech career and was looking at different opportunities. Didn't end up panning out anything there. It turns out I'm not actually that good at it. Um, I'm not good at selling myself generally. Um, in
Yeah,
that sort of like doing all the marketing and all of that, that's not really something I'm great at.
yeah.
Um,
No, yeah, and
so
yeah, you mean again the socially selling yourself, right? Like in
yeah,
that aspect, you're
yeah,
talking,
yeah.
yeah, because
That, that's what I mean about
you still need to network and get your name out there and all that
yeah.
stuff, right? Right.
It's a lot of marketing work. It's a lot of making sure you have some product to sell, whether
Right.
that's videos, whether that's content, whether it's whatever. It's a business. And I just wasn't really good at it at that time. And consequently, I sort of drifted back more towards my tech roots,
Mm-hmm.
having been a software developer for, I think at the time it was 10 years, roughly. 8 years professional, about another 3 years when I was learning.
Okay.
And Foster Sesta, which is the legislation that was passed to with the intent of stopping trafficking, um, that had just passed, and a lot of people on that I was following on Twitter at the time, now X, were very, very concerned about whether or not they would have access to
Mm-hmm.
their livelihoods still, because obviously sex workers really do rely on social media these days in order to find clients, to
I
sell
mean,
their products, whatever.
the main thing you said was marketing,
Yeah.
and that
So,
was a big source of. I remember, like
yeah.
when they were having that conversation, there was a big conversation about, well, where can these people go to be safe? And that's
Yeah.
the whole thing, right? Is to be safe when doing something that can be very easily inherently not safe, and you
Well,
want
yeah.
to
Like
make it as safe as possible.
at the time, I read stories of things like the boyfriend or a husband of a sex worker. She'd ask him to drive her to an appointment and they'd get busted and he'd be put up on sex trafficking charges. And it's like, that's not the case at all. It's just complete sort of, um, I want to say abomination of the law or like,
It's a
it's not
twist
the
of the
intent of
law.
the law. Like, there are actual people that are actually
There's
doing the crimes,
right. There's the letter of
but the
the law and
people,
there's the spirit of the law, and he's
yeah,
following the
exactly
letter of
that.
the law without using his brain and
Yeah.
being an a-hole.
So what Foster slash Sester did was essentially make it a it removed the Section 230 protections from anything related to sex work or that could be deemed sex trafficking. And it was a rather chilling effect on freedom of speech.
Right.
Um, but the legislation passed, and people on Twitter at the time were like, we need to do something. Like, we're unsafe now. We don't know
Mm-hmm.
whether or not we can stay here. And I'd heard of Mastodon somehow. I don't know how, probably through
Oh,
tech
okay.
circles. Like it was just a vague mention of this piece of software existing, and I was sort of starting to think maybe I should set up a Mastodon server. How hard can it be? But before I managed to do that, Assembly 4, an Australian-based company that does a set of tools for sex workers themselves, uh, launched Twitter.at,
Mm-hmm.
which I was like, well, that's a Mastodon server for sex workers. I was gonna start something that in that space, so
Mm-hmm.
why not? Why don't I reach out to them and say, you know, I'll help you do whatever you need to do in order to run this site because I think it needs to exist. And that led me to being one of the early moderators on Twitter.at. And we quickly learned that with the growth rate that we had, which was quite literally doubling every single day in numbers, like hockey stick growth that in all of 10 years working at startups or whatever, 8 years working at startups, I'd never seen that growth.
Yeah.
But here's this Mastodon server that is growing by double every single day, and we're getting a lot of reports as well because turns out the Fediverse at the time wasn't too ready for adult content. Uh, and
Interesting.
yeah, there was a lot of things of like sort of the marketing ads getting posted without content warnings or without sensitive media or things like that.
Right. That
And
yeah, that I could see as a problem. Yeah.
yeah, like even though our server explicitly allowed this, other servers didn't,
Did not.
and
Yep.
there was a bit of friction between the two. Um, so we had to do all sorts of stuff in order to like it very quickly became a thing of trying to modify the Mastodon source code to figure out like what are the tools we need to actually moderate this community and what are the tools that we need in order to federate in a nice, friendly way. So,
Right.
for instance, all media that was sent out was automatically marked as sensitive by the software.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
members didn't actually have to mark it as
You don't
sensitive.
have to worry about it. Yep.
Um, there were certain hashtags that we had to deny the usage of. So for certain legal reasons. I'm not going to mention what
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
I don't think I know off the top of head anymore. But there were various changes that we needed to make, and we initially started making those changes to Mastodon uh, in the um, in the Twitter fork of Mastodon because we ran a fork. But ultimately, we tried to upstream those. And at the time, I was working with a freelance client who didn't need a whole lot of my time, but still paid me enough to live on.
Yeah.
So I had a good deal there where I could essentially spend the time working to improve Mastodon
Yep.
whilst also still doing all the other stuff that I needed to do for that client.
Yeah.
So that was sort of the first time that I contributed, and that was in 2018. And then I went back to tech work, and my days were very busy, so I stopped contributing around about June, July 2018, and I also stepped away from Twitter at that time. Um,
Is
and
is Twitter still active? Like I went to their
no,
website and
no,
it's up, but I don't see anywhere like to.
it's an in memoriam now. Basically, the legal situation in Australia changed, and there was too much legal liability, so the site had to shut down. Australia's been pushing some rather aggressive laws around age verification, adult content, and social media. So, for instance, under 16s, I believe, are banned from social
S-
media in Australia.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Um, if you're based in the UK, then you the Online Safety Act is the very similar sort of legislation to
I'm in. I
uh,
mean, I'm in the U.S. and there's a lot of
yeah, US has similar
that
laws.
being
They're popping up
pushed,
all over the place.
which is why
In
I'm
Germany,
I'm trying to reach out to my congressman through BT Free and say, hey, you have the best intentions, but kids need to learn these skills. Here is, we have
yeah,
something now where you can learn, you can run your own from the safety of your own. And I mean, I've gotten one response, which is more than I thought I would get. So there is that.
yeah. Um, Getting things in front of politicians and getting them to give a response generally relies on how well connected you are,
Yep.
how much money you have, and a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah.
Lobbying is not an easy job there. I don't envy the people that do it, but
Yeah.
they do get the job done eventually.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's a lot of legislation around adult content and online spaces and things like that that um, make it very complicated at times to run an online community.
Well, if
Um,
if you're okay, to come back to, because I feel like this is a large part of how you got started with trust and safety. Um,
yes.
and when you and I had talked, I am cis male. I think that's what's called, right?
Hmm.
I have. I'm trying to think. I know one in person. I know one transgender person that I haven't talked to in years.
Hmm.
I do have a lot of transgender folks that I know online. You know, you're being one of them. And one of the things that actually surprised me was that you said there are higher rates of like sex worker in the trans community.
Yeah. Any marginalized community will generally have, I guess, higher rates of marginalization. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but basically, if you have a community that is excluded from normal life,
Mm-hmm.
or like harassed in normal life,
Mm-hmm.
then chances are that they will find community elsewhere. So
Okay.
for people who are trans, who are discriminated in general
Yeah, yeah,
employment
yeah.
areas, they might seek other forms or alternative forms of employment, whether that's working on open source, whether that's Twitch
Well, and
streaming, whether that's sex work. It really doesn't matter. It's all about finding a job and a way to exist in a society that doesn't really accept you
yeah.
existing.
No, and that makes sense. And I mean, you're right that I mean, sex work alone is marginalized. Like there is
Yep.
vast swaths of the country that are like, no, this should not exist. Period. And then from there you get shades of, well, it can, but we need to be very careful, right? It's
Yeah.
very rare for full acceptance, like as a dad, right? Like, but we can all agree age appropriate things, right? It's not,
Yes.
but okay,
Like
so that's
no one in the adult industry ever wants to sell content to people who are underage.
right.
Like that's just it's
Despite
creepy. It's weird.
despite
Uh
what a lot of politicians or a lot
right.
of folks that are trying to go against it want you to believe,
Yeah.
you are not a stalker creepy person that is trying to change everyone. You just want to live your life.
Yeah. Just want to live your life, get by, so not just survive, but flourish.
Yeah,
And live a life like anybody else gets to live.
yeah.
Um
So
yeah.
were you, so before Twitter, how aware of trust and safety were you for your community, your work? Because again, it is very easy for, I don't want to, I'm trying to figure out like a nice way. I'll just say like police officers to completely dismiss someone that's a sex worker, right? Like you are not held up to the same level as a politician, as a judge, right?
Right.
But those people could literally be partaking in your services. You are seen as
So
less important, less reliable.
right. So discrimination happens at all levels. I want to
You do.
clarify,
Thank
I
you.
never did sex work to any degree that was like substantive. So I don't generally consider myself having to have been a sex worker or to
No, 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 no. Yeah.
represent them at all. Um,
I'm
it
talking
is
more
purely
about
a
like
thing of
you were around
like,
the communities
yeah,
though.
my friends who do
Yeah,
it
yeah,
do talk of stories of, discrimination by police, by federal employees, by
right.
or like government employees, by housing, all sorts of things. I know that also within the trans community, and I've experienced this myself, where after I transitioned, getting jobs in the tech industry suddenly became a lot harder. Don't know why. My skills hadn't changed. I was still the same person, still the same knowledge. But for whatever reason, it was harder to get work.
It's because you rock
Um,
that lipstick. That's why.
uh,
No, and
yeah.
that's, yeah, and I mean, but then you have to start wondering and questioning, right? Like there might be some valid reasons for some of the companies, but for all of them, you're kind of
Uh,
just like, it's weird.
yeah, like you look at sort of the things that happen and you go, okay, well, there's a bit of a pattern there. You can't quite place your finger on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, discrimination does happen, and also stigmatization of certain groups of people results
Yes.
in harms being perpetuated.
Right.
So you asked me about my prior experience around trust and safety,
Yeah. 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 That's
and in 2012 and 2013, I worked for a startup called State, which was a global opinions network. Uh, it never launched publicly, as far as I know.
right.
They did a lot of soft launches, but at the time, starting up a social network in 2012, 2013 that competed with the likes of Facebook and Twitter, it was a non-starter essentially. But that was founded
Hmm.
by the brothers that founded Jawbone, the
The earbud. Yeah. The ear.
earpiece, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
earpiece technology company. And I worked with them for the 2 years or so, and whilst I was there, we ended up having to integrate a lot of moderation technology into the software that we were building
Oh,
because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we obviously needed to moderate that community.
Right.
So there were things there, and then I've also had some other experiences with helping people around trust and safety, and
Well,
more at a sort of basic social level rather than at a technological level as well. But, yeah.
so but like one of the things that I've been trying to talk to folks about is you're not American, you're
No.
Australian, and you're in Germany actually, right?
Yeah.
But there are certain, even moderation, trust and safety, you bring your morals, your ideals to something like that. And the thing that I have been going to recently is like the Japanese. The Japanese are amazing folks, absolutely brilliant. But for us Westerners, they have some quirks, I would say, that not are harmful, but something we look at which is like, ooh, that's weird. Um, do you actually think that you as a single person can actually actively moderate something like that? My idea is that we should have these all these separate communities that moderate themselves because they're the only ones that understand the ins and outs of those communities.
Yeah, so for a service like State, which was intended to
Mm-hmm.
be a centralized opinions network, a global opinions network, uh, the the moderation of that was going to always be uh, inexplicably hard. Like
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
there is no easy way to moderate opinions.
Yeah.
There was actually in the office there was a poster hanging with that famous quote on it. I think you might know the one that I'm talking about. It involves everyone having something.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, you
yep.
could say that if you want. I'm not overly concerned with it, but
I'll keep it child friendly.
okay.
But yeah.
I
So
mean, we're talking sex workers already.
okay, true. But yeah,
And then,
there was a poster in the office that I remember that I don't know who thought it was a good idea to put up, but it was the opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
and they all stink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think that was actually on. I don't think the "and they all stink" was actually on the poster. I think that sort of hit the word limit and
As a,
like got chopped off.
yeah,
But yeah, like there is no good easy way to moderate opinions. People are entitled to their opinions, yes. Uh, but you have to look at when opinions cross the line
yep,
between just being an opinion and being an
harmful.
actively harmful situation.
Yeah,
So, like, one of the things that I experienced on that site, I was, of course, a beta user because I was a developer. And when I came out, I said that I was trans, and I said, being trans is a lovely thing. Like, it's a beautiful thing to discover who you are and to um, figure out how to fit into this world and how you fit into this world
right.
and how you want to be represented and seen. And someone ended up replying to that statement on that site and left a rather hateful and transphobic comment and was like, "Oh, this is against God," and all of this stuff. The sort of comment that you see all the time around LGBTQI plus
Yeah,
people. And in that case, I ended up reporting it because it was like, you're entitled to your own opinion about transness, but don't at-mention me about it because I don't care.
yeah, yeah.
Like, and
Well, and
that's the difference between
I
having an
don't
opinion
understand.
and sharing it in a way that is harmful.
No, there was, what was it on TikTok when TikTok in the US was banned for whatever it was, 48 hours or whatever. I guess
Hmm.
a lot of folks moved to a different Chinese platform, and I remember
Red Note.
specifically Red Note. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
specifically someone saying, like, showing a picture of someone just throwing their own opinion out there, and the Chinese person in English was saying, all of you Americans think that your opinions are fact, and it's true. Like everyone, well, not everyone, but like we all think, or at least a lot of people that do that, like, well, you're just wrong. Here's right, and you're welcome that I helped you get to the correct place. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't.
It is always a very subjective thing. Opinions are subjective. They
Insanely.
depend on.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are the embodiment of subjectivity, I guess. But yeah, the way that we tend to hold our opinions strongly is sometimes a negative thing in social contexts. Um,
which again, how the hell do you moderate that though? Like, what did
it's
anything
always a
happen with
difficult
that?
balance. It's trying to figure out, what is the right, like, what is the threshold for harm? Is a marginalized group being harmed by this opinion more so? Is it targeted towards them, or is it just someone yelling in the street type thing? Like, is there active harm going on?
But you
Is
could
there harassment?
argue
Is there
you
any
could
sort of
argue someone jumping into a conversation like that could bring in other sources that do the same
yes,
thing. The current political state in the United States, like there has been mass conversation on, well, his statements are just opinion. It's like, but his opinions carry such a weight that it changes literally half the country's opinion in
yep.
an instant. So that is, and that then brings harm. Shouldn't he be responsible for that? And
I think there's a responsibility for all of us to be responsible in what we say and how we say it, and to think about the words that we're saying. Um,
so then what do you do when someone doesn't care about that responsibility is the question I guess I'm asking.
that is a tricky question to answer because it really depends on what the harm is that happened, um, or that could potentially happen.
Yeah.
E.g., like if it's a case of someone just yelling in the street corner, you can shut the window and ignore them. Like
Right.
it's going to be fine. Like you can
Yeah.
block and move on. But if that person is repeatedly going after members of your community, then that's a bad behavior, and that generally needs to be addressed through moderation activity. Um, if there is someone that is deliberately spreading misinformation, that maybe needs to be something that society needs to look at and go, is that something that we need to allow as a society? Is that acceptable by us?
And that's,
You
I
know,
mean, that's another, and I'm not,
like,
I love
what
this
do
conversation. I'm not trying to play devil's advocate or
mm,
anything, but like
like
there is, like, people don't understand how fine of a balance there is, because you could say, when the person says to you, you're against God, could that be misinformation? Like, that's,
that wouldn't be, I don't think that would be a case of misinformation. That would just be an opinion. Obviously, there's case by case basis and all of that,
but like
on all of this
historic,
stuff. Like, there's
yeah.
always an asterisk.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no, and that's, I mean, a lot
but
of a lot of our Christian values are not actually, sorry, not to get into this, but like, don't
religion, always a fun topic.
religion and
Uh,
politics. What else can we hit? Come on.
yeah, we've got to go for like the trifecta. Whatever the third thing is, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Maybe
always,
it's Spaceballs.
we're gonna get there. But yeah,
Um,
no, and this is, I love this conversation, and again, I think that someone like yourself, you've been deep into this. You most likely, unless I'm wrong, have had some very hard conversations on where to draw that line.
yeah, so I'm not actively involved in moderation at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try and stay clear of making those decisions, but I can advise on like the technical implications of certain actions or certain patterns of behavior. So for instance, if we see that, oh, we've got 4 or 5 accounts popping up, all sharing the same information at the same time,
Yeah,
all acting in a similar way,
that's,
that might be a deliberate misinformation or disinformation or
campaign.
coordinated
Yeah,
campaign of some sort.
yeah,
Um, so it's really sort of looking at it from this, like adding the context from the, I guess, techno-social aspect. Kind of, I can't really explain it that well. In sort of um,
no, I
yeah,
mean,
like
yeah, it's
there's not
different.
a really a great way of explaining it, but it's like
It's
the
different trying to moderate and have a conversation online than if you were at your local bar or something,
right.
right? You can't share, as Wordsmith put it, intent is the fork in that road. and it's impossible to determine intent from just some text unless it is
Yeah.
blatant, I'm going to hurt you or something like that, right? Like this is, and it's interesting because even before the internet stuff, like my wife and I have been together for 18 years, and she would read like a text message to me and she would put her own tone to it. And I was like, hang on a second. The way you said it and the way I'm interpreting it are different. Just be completely neutral. And she says it like a robot. And then she's like, oh, that might not mean what I think it means. And I was like, and we don't know.
Yeah. Like interpreting what someone means and what someone is trying to imply or get across is, it's purely subjective as well.
Yeah.
Once again, moderation is an opinion in itself.
Yep.
There's people on the far right that think that, moderation is deliberately harming their voices, which arguably no. But you see things like, for instance, Meta last year moving all of their content moderation from a blue state to a red state, even though there's not really red states and blue states because you have
It's
voters
all
of
in a
each
mingle.
party
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they moved their moderation from California to Texas to appear to kind of appease Trump and appease the right. Um, and does that actually balance the scales? Probably not. You probably actually want moderation in both California and Texas because they have different opinions and they represent
Right.
different communities
Yeah.
and different accepted behaviors. And there is a balance to strike there. Um, Generally, the balance to strike is to look for what results in the least harm to the most marginalized person,
Yeah. No, and
I
I'm
think.
I'm not going to be the first one that says that California is going to get it all right either. Like
No.
you have one in Texas, you have one in California. It could still be completely different in New York. It could still be completely different in Florida. Hell, let's not even start on the rest of the world where they're trying to moderate that doesn't even speak the same language. That even if you
Yeah.
can throw it into Google Translate, you have no idea what it actually is
I
saying
mean,
outside of the words.
there was that case of what Meta slash Facebook did in Myanmar, which Aaron Kassan has documented quite extensively. And that's just a really horrifying case of trust and safety going wrong. Like,
What? What do we?
so
Do
in
you feel comfortable
Myanmar,
talking about it?
yeah,
Yeah.
essentially, and
Is
I'm
this
going off
the?
memory here, so may not be
I'm trying to
uh,
remember if I'm trying to think.
100% accurate, but
I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm not certain.
the
But go ahead.
the essence of it was Facebook didn't employ enough moderators that spoke the local language in Myanmar. And consequently, when I think it was there was a rise in racial tensions between two different communities within Myanmar.
Right.
And ultimately, the discourse that was on Facebook led to a genocide happening against a certain group of people in
Right.
Myanmar.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Even though they
Um,
deny it, but because they'll
yeah, they
always
deny
deny it.
it,
I think
and
everyone should be honest. Okay, Mark.
yeah, but it was a case of they didn't have enough moderators that spoke the language. They couldn't act, they couldn't accurately moderate the situation because they didn't know what was going on. They didn't have that context of that community to go, oh, something bad is happening here.
Yeah.
There is a
Well,
coordinated attack happening on this community. We need to de-amplify and de-escalate this situation.
which, which, again, from an American perspective, something like freedom of speech is ingrained in us, but a lot of folks don't understand what it actually means. But we are hesitant to censor anything, apparently, except for books lately, but censor anything that someone is saying. We err on the side of not censoring than censoring. And again, that is not correct for the rest of the world.
Right. Freedom of speech doesn't equal freedom of reach. It never has. It shouldn't. So you
So,
can say whatever you want without government persecution, hopefully.
yes.
Maybe not now in
Well,
the US,
hmm.
TBD. But you should be able to say anything without government persecution as long as it's
yes.
not patently illegal activity. So, like, if you're trying to groom someone, like groom a child or something
Yes,
like that,
that
and
is leads to
commit
harmful
actual
situation. Yeah.
crimes, uh, then yeah, that is something that is moderatable under a legal basis.
Right.
Um, but when it's something like someone having a bad opinion, you know, JavaScript is crap, uh, then
That's not an
then
opinion. That's
that
fact.
eh, well, I write a lot of JavaScript, so that one's on me. But yeah, it's like there's a very, very broad spectrum between different aspects of moderation. You've got the stuff
Yes.
on one side that is
Right.
really patently illegal, and then you've got the stuff that is harassment and like just negative
Yes.
community vibes. And then you've
Yes.
got the stuff that's just like this is just a disagreement between two people that doesn't need any moderator involvement.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, two people disagreeing about the same thing is, well, that's part of
Well,
society.
and even having a moderator. So, well, hang on. Actually, Blender. I think that you should be able to speak freely about your government anywhere. No one is perfect. No government will ever be perfect. That is the freedom that we're talking about. But Americans misinterpret that as I'm allowed to say whatever I want,
Yes.
which is not true. There are some things like blatantly lined out. Anything that can cause panic in enclosed situations is illegal. Like the classic
Yeah,
one is
it's
yelling
the
fire in a movie theater,
yeah,
which, and if you're like, oh, well, I can't say fire in a movie theater, you can. You cannot have the intent to incite panic. And that's pretty easy to
yeah,
talk about. But in the situation you're talking about, Amelia, like I've been in the situation. I moderated for a very large Twitch streamer once, and he wasn't online. I was just hanging out, and his chat's open, and two people are arguing, and I'm just like, guys, let's just calm down. And immediately it brought the level lower,
yeah,
right? And by the time they're already screaming and yelling at already, it's massively harder. It's getting to that before, but you have to have the teams and the tools in place to
yeah. It's
de-escalate.
de-escalation rather than escalation.
Right.
Like if you leave a conflict going unsettled for as long as some of these have, then you do end up having these extremely polarizing situations. Um,
Oh, she's
are
hungry.
you scared of Jason?
Am I scared of
Fred,
Jason?
Freddy versus Jason coming through the door with
Oh no, my cat
the
is
Reapers thing.
no, my cat is getting antsy. It's about time that
Ah,
she gets fed. So I saw her like walking around over here. Sorry, but please go ahead.
um, yeah, the only reason Jason was on my mind was I saw this thing about divers getting quite a scare in I think it was a Minnesota or Ohio lake because there was a statue of Jason chained down to the bottom of the lake, so that if
Oh
they dived
God,
in, they would see they would see Freddy
that would
versus Jason.
scare the shit
Um,
out of me. I was watching someone play a game last night and they were underwater, like mining stuff. Like, oh God, no, that seemed awful.
yeah.
But anyways, go ahead.
Um,
What are we talking about? I don't remember now.
moderation and stuff.
Yeah,
So yeah, like basically the aim of moderation is to try and reduce harm as much as possible,
right.
to de-escalate situations and to try to be fair. And all of those things are really, really, really hard.
Yes,
Um, like there's
yes.
no hard, fast answer. What is acceptable to one person might not be
Well,
acceptable to another.
and
Uh, in the context of free speech, the American misinterpretation of that part of their constitution is that it's free speech anywhere and on any private platform. Like
right.
if you go into a bar and you start yelling horrible things, the bar owner is probably within their
They're
right
gonna
to
kick
kick
you
you out
out.
of their bar because
Yep,
it's private property.
yep,
The same thing goes with online social spaces.
yep. I agree.
You know, we don't have to accept people that are hateful
Which
within our communities.
which
You know,
not for the hateful people, but this is why I like having my own platform, because
yeah,
I might say something that pisses off Elon Musk, and then I'm kicked off his platform, and I've built a community, and now, oh shit, what am I going to do? Like,
yeah,
we've seen it, people, and It's just people having opinions, or
Well, there
people
was
saying they don't
like
like Teslas or something,
yeah, like
and
there was the
and
journalists
that's
that have actually been banned from X
his
and had their
right.
reach reduced.
That's his
It is,
right, right?
yeah,
And I don't agree with it at all. But there's going to be instances where someone says something that I think should be kicked off, but it's his platform at this point. It is theirs, and yeah. So you've been in trust and safety for a while. How did you get involved with IFTAS? If you don't mind us pivoting a
yeah.
bit.
So for IFTAS, I got involved over the summer of 2023. The wider context to that is I got re-involved in doing stuff for the Fediverse in early 2023. I'd been working for Inrupt, which does
No, I know. Yeah,
yeah, they do solid for
solid
the
pods.
enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, so personal data storage using linked data and stuff. So Tim
Mm-hmm.
Berners-Lee's company.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd been working for them, but I ended up finding myself in a position of deciding to move on from there. And at the time, I didn't really like 2023 wasn't really the greatest year to try and get hired in tech. Arguably, it's probably gotten worse since.
Yeah.
We're gone are the days of zero interest rates, where jobs were plentiful.
Just put AI in
So
your resume, and everyone will hire you. Apparently.
yeah, something like that. So at the time, I'd only recently joined Hachiderm as a Mastodon server,
Mm-hmm.
and they were having Chris Nova was streaming on Twitch some of the infrastructure setup that they were doing and some of the problems that they were having. And one of the issues that they were having was to do with the streaming server in Mastodon, where it was having like memory leaks or using weird amounts of CPU and just generally being a bit unstable. Um, and that basically piqued my interest again. And I thought, okay, well, I looked at this code back in 2018, what's that, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, 20, 2018 to
it's
2023, five
it's
years.
funny because you're like, basic math, but as you grow up and time kind of shrinks, you're like, oh, that wasn't that big of a difference. You're like, no, that was 5 years. I was like,
Yeah,
Jesus.
time compression and time dilation are really weird
It's
things.
yeah.
But yeah, so I looked at the code to the streaming server back in 2018, and then I looked at it again in 2023 and was like, oh, I think I know the reason why some of this behavior is happening. And I ended up starting to write code for Mastodon again to try and improve the streaming server and to make it more performant and less buggy and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of one of those less loved parts of the Mastodon code base, shall we say? Like a lot of the focus is on the Ruby on Rails side, justifiably. But the streaming server was sort of it worked, it did its thing,
Yeah.
and people don't generally need to touch it when they're contributing. So it's like some of the patterns and stuff hadn't been looked at or changed in quite a long time. So one of the things that we ended up discovering was that, yeah, there was actually indeed a memory leak where we would receive a message off Redis, which would be JSON and or JSON encoded, and the message would get parsed once for every single connection that that message had to go to. So it's sort of a fan art system where you get one message in from Redis, and then you have like half a dozen clients that are all connected to the public timeline, for instance. And
Mm-hmm.
that one message has to go to each one of those clients. So it would do a JSON.parse for every single client rather than
And
parsing it
passing
once when
once
it
and then
received the
passing it
message
on.
and then
Yeah.
passing it on. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so you basically ended up with a lot of unused objects in the Node.js
Yeah.
in the heap, and that caused memory pressure and CPU spikes when the garbage collector kicked in. So that was essentially the problem that people were seeing.
Okay.
And we fixed those issues, and those went out, I think, in 4.2, if I recall correctly. Um, it was either
Wow.
4.2 or 4.3, I forget. But yeah, then I continued working on different things for Mastodon, um, where it was just sort of figure out what was missing, fill in the blanks,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. Um, and I ended up coming across IFTAS at some point and was like, hey, I want to get involved. I started doing up, like, for instance, an RFC process to sort of formalize sharing ideas.
Nice.
Like, you want to pitch an idea, here's a RFC process. We ended up abandoning that because we took a different direction.
Okay.
But officially, I started working with IFTAS November 1st, 2023, after chatting with them for about 5 months,
Okay.
or chatting with Jazz specifically for about 5 months. And
Who's a wonderful human being, by the way. If you don't
yeah,
follow Jazz, go follow Jazz.
and yeah, I also was doing my own stuff with trust and safety around my Fires project, which I started in September 2023 as well. Or I wrote up the draft of it sort of September, August 2023, trying to tackle how do we communicate moderation data between Fediverse instances to keep our communities safe and to improve the knowledge sharing of potential bad actors within the network. Um, yeah,
Okay.
so that's how I got involved with IFTAS, and then I ended up leading a bunch of their projects as a tech lead, and designing the infrastructure for instance, IFTAS CCS, which was their content classification service for specifically initially detecting child sexual abuse material, um, and figuring out how to make that work at Fediverse scale. Um, it was a centralized service. Now I'm looking more at how can we integrate, for instance, hash matcher actioner into Fediverse software. So you can actually run it yourself on your own infrastructure rather than relying on someone else.
So when I don't know if you want to talk about this, when we were at Fedi Forum together, that's originally how you and I got
Hmm.
introduced. And Jazz was telling us that essentially the funding for IFTAS due to the current political situation has dried up. So IFTAS is actually in danger. And for those that don't know, so IFTAS, they're so I'll just read nonprofit trust and safety support for volunteer social web content moderators. They have all kinds of amazing documentation on mental health for moderators. What do you do if like you're a moderator and you see Sam? Like, can you just delete it? Do you need to call, the police?
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. They have lots of documentation that I believe Jazz is trying to back up somewhere. Actually,
Yep.
during Fedi Forum, someone recommended archive.org, so I don't know if he's taking that route. But they've done a lot of good, open, free work on mental health issues. And I mean, that was the big thing that I had heard. I,
Yeah.
I hadn't even heard of IFTAS until then.
I mean, one of the big things with moderation is there is a huge mental health burden to some of the stuff you see as a moderator. Like when I did just those 3 months of moderation at Twitter, I saw some images that I still cannot get out of my brain. They
Yeah,
weren't they weren't child sexual abuse material or anything like that, but it was
no,
just images that, I didn't necessarily want to see, but I saw them
yeah.
because I was a moderator.
Well, no, and
Um,
it's amazing because it's not
so
even just moderators. Like when I was in college going for computer information systems, there was someone that did computer forensics.
yeah,
And like after one of the classes, I talked
same.
to her about like, well, what does your day to day look like? She's like, well, honestly, my day to day is I run this application, I get all of these pictures, and then I look at horror for the next 8 hours. And I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Um, there's a very, very good reason why the moderators that a lot of big social media companies use, who are based in, they typically try and farm this out to countries where the labor is cheapest, um, which has its own ethical implications there. But the people that are labeling these data sets and classifying this content for these big social media platforms, they've been able to unionize recently. And the result of that unionization is that they can get better access to mental health resources and to cope with the stress of that job.
Good. Yes,
Um,
as they should
so
be
that's
allowed.
an important move forwards. I forget exactly what the name of the organization is for the union, but there is a union for content moderators in Africa. Um, but yeah, a lot of there are a lot of jobs where your job is essentially looking at harmful content or looking at harmful activities, and that does take a sort of a chunk of your soul, if you will. It
And
takes
all
away some of the that glint in your eye of happiness because you know just how bad the world can be.
and
Um,
Amelia has an incredible ability for being very nice and easygoing with her words. It's horrific. The amount of stuff that I've heard people talking about, you cannot begin to imagine. You don't want to begin to imagine, and you sure as
yeah,
shit don't want to see it because it will change your life forever if you can't get it out of your head.
yeah. There's a lot of people that their first venture into moderation, they like, or even in the Fediverse, let's
Yep.
say, not exclu if we just focus on the Fediverse, there's a lot of people, and even the Mastodon documentation, as an example, or any other Fediverse software's documentation, they start from a point of the technical stuff. So here's how you install the software and set up a server and have fun. And everybody's like not even thinking about the moderation aspect until much later on when something bad happens, and then they're like, oh shit, I need to do something. What do I need to do? And that's
Yeah,
kind of where IFTAS steps in, and it provides the resources to try and help train you and teach you how to handle these rather delicate situations at times.
that's literally why I've never run. Like I was looking at running a Mastodon server, it would have been for me. Like
Yeah,
moderating that stuff is again impossible, and even things you can never realize, like how much actually work there is in the background.
yeah.
So if you have moderators on your server,
Say
send
thanks
them,
to them.
yeah, I
Yeah,
send them crisp $100 bills or something. Like the least you could do is say thank you, because it is
yep,
a thankless job in the darkest places you don't want to go. Hopefully there are a lot of moderators that never have to experience that kind of stuff. But unfortunately again, I don't
yeah.
even want to imagine.
There are organizations still working in the trust and safety space. Roost Tools is one of them, where they're trying to build sort of next generation open source trust and safety tooling. Um, for IFTAS, we couldn't build a lot of stuff open source due to like weird legal stuff around non-profits and doing open source. There's a whole thing around that.
In which, in the
Basically,
US, or because
yeah, in
it's
the US, due to IRS regulations and stuff, where
interesting.
like if you do open source software as a non-profit, then there was the risk of, and I think this was coming from the IRS, where like they didn't want, for instance, Google to shift all of Android into a non-profit and then claim all of the investment in Android as being a tax-free deduction to Google. Because obviously there's millions and millions of dollars that go into Android development. And that's still a business income, that's still a business expense for Google. Um,
But that's
but the
so
concern
you couldn't
was
just
that,
be an isolated nonprofit that doesn't.
right,
It's,
so the
it's
IRS kind of went with, as far as I understand it, they went with this sort of blanket rule of saying, no open source because we can't we can't moderate it, funnily enough. And
I know
yeah,
someone that can
they
help them.
essentially wanted to avoid the tax loopholes, where if, for instance, Google made Android
Yeah,
fully
yeah,
open,
yeah, yeah.
fully a non-profit, then they would claim the however many millions that they were investing in Android development to boost Google's own
Right,
competition against Apple. They'd be claiming that as a tax deduction on Google's expenses,
right. Yeah.
and that wasn't really gonna fly with the IRS because, you know, at the end of the day, it's still benefiting Google
Oh
in a
yeah,
business sense.
Yeah.
So
No, it's
that's sort of where, as far as I understand it, the IRS kind of clamped down and said, we're not going to approve non-profit status for anything related to open source. So you have to be really, really careful with this. There's certain stuff that we can
interesting.
release publicly, but there's a difference between releasing stuff publicly for free and releasing stuff as open source. And there's like a sort of weird gray area there.
No, and I mean this is interesting to me. It makes me think I need to talk to a
Yeah,
lawyer even more, though I'm not like my company, my nonprofit company that I feel so weird
yeah,
always saying that. It doesn't we don't build software, right? Like it's again more about helping people understand and get spun up kind of a
yeah.
thing. So I don't think that that falls in line with me,
No.
but no, I totally understand. I totally understand. But
This is really
again,
for like companies that are actually building software as fully open source. So
and
like,
but
um,
this
and it's
shows.
specific to it's specific to 501(c)(3)s. So
Mhm.
if you're a
Yeah,
501(c)(4), 6, 5, whatever,
I'm
I
working
don't
on it,
really know
but
the numbers,
yeah.
then it doesn't apply to those. It's
But no,
specifically for 501(c)(3)s.
this is one of the interesting things that I think too, and it really shows the current power of America, right? Like
Hmm.
our laws have a ripple
A global
effect.
impact. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
I'm actually excited for the EU's sovereign push towards
yes.
uh, uh, internet. What did they call it? Digital sovereignty.
Yes.
Do you have any
Um,
thoughts on that? As an Australian in Germany.
so that's always a complicated question. At the end of the day, uh, I don't think it's okay that other foreign governments are held, um, that they can't make their own decisions about what is acceptable for their citizens,
Mm-hmm.
or that their own citizens even can't decide what is acceptable and unacceptable in their social spaces,
Comes back to what
or
we were
in
talking about
technical.
earlier. If they
Yeah,
can't moderate their own stuff, right? They
yeah.
depend on someone else.
So like we're seeing at the moment, if I recall correctly, and I've only read this in passing because I've been unwell recently. But there was the thing of the US directly applying pressure to different countries
Yep.
because they were doing content moderation and because they were cracking down on things like anti-corruption and things like that. I think the latest story I heard there was the one of Trump trying to get the charges, I think by this point, against Jair
Bolsonaro.
Bolsonaro, the former
Yep.
president of Brazil, trying to get those quashed.
Yep.
And there's been similar pressures for like
Or the or
whether or not Ofcom in the UK will enforce the Online Safety Act against X or
yeah,
not. Like,
right.
you know,
Or Microsoft having to cut off a UN, I think it was UN director's account,
yeah.
right? Like that's mind blowing.
I don't know
Uh,
that specific case, so I can't really talk about that one. But yeah, there's a lot of cases where because of the centralized nature of a globalized society, where
yes.
you do have these companies that are like huge behemoths that have tentacles everywhere, and that is a problem in our society because it gives unweighted impact to a very small minority of people.
Right.
You know, who are these companies beholden to? Are they beholden to the public good, or are they just beholden to their shareholders? Usually it's the latter.
Yeah.
Almost always the latter. A company's goal is to make money, after all.
Yeah.
Um,
And
you know,
it's
that's the sole reason for it existing.
yeah,
It doesn't exist for a social public good, typically. Um,
right.
there are some exceptions, like I think Signal comes to mind here, where they're doing stuff that is generally widely regarded as a public good. But at the end of the day, Signal still needs to pay their
Yes.
employees, not employers. Um,
Well, and
so
as at least I've seen in corporate America for the last 20 years, that can literally change tomorrow with a change in management.
yeah, whether it's a change in management, whether that's a change in the shareholders who are investing in the company and therefore have voting rights within that
Yep.
company, you know,
And
it
you can't blame
all,
them, as you said. Like
right.
they have responsibilities to the shareholders first and foremost, and then to their employees who, to
Yeah.
be honest, are only there for the shareholders.
Yeah. And consequently, a lot of that often goes counter to local needs or
Yeah.
counter to to the detriment of society. Um, there was a quote that I recall, which was, if anything else needed year-on-year growth and grew exponentially every single year, if we looked at that in the animal world, we'd call that a cancer.
Yeah.
But in the Western world, or in the world in general, we call that capitalism.
Yeah.
Um,
The quest for
and
infinite growth. And that's why
yeah,
we see the different gold rushes. I mean, I don't really remember before the internet, right? I'm sure they had their gold rushes then, but like all we're seeing is one after another, after another, after another, because we have to drive value. You
yeah,
can't. There's a finite amount of people, there's a finite amount of time, there's a finite amount of money, and
yeah.
it's mind boggling.
So yeah, like in a way, the EU saying, okay, well, we want digital sovereignty, we want to control that narrative a bit
Yeah.
and to choose our own path and not be beholden to a foreign company whose government can place leverage on us or things like that.
Yep.
That is a good thing. Uh,
Yes.
being able to say, okay, look,
Agree.
we have our own thing, we control our destiny. That is generally a good thing. Um, you know, you look at the case of what was it? A lot of the emergency services, they only broadcast information on X.
Yeah. I
Like,
never even knew that. That blew my mind
yeah,
when I found that
that's
out.
like totally a thing. And, you know, you've got cases of information not going out to the public via like SMS distribution, for instance, purely because they're like, oh, well, we published it on X. Like that's where you get
There's
our information.
I mean, the alternate one of that I always think about is, and it happened with one of the hospitals I had went to, is the tracking pixel of Facebook. Oh,
Yeah,
well, Facebook didn't tell us it was going back to their servers. It's like, what do you think Facebook does?
yeah. Like Facebook. A lot of people think of Facebook as being a social media company.
It's not.
They're not. They're an advertising
They're an
company.
advertising company,
Their
just like
entire
Google, just like X,
yes,
just like TikTok.
yeah, and like at the end of the day, the business is selling ads. You are the product because the
Yeah.
product is free, therefore you are the product. Admittedly, yeah, you can pay for X. I don't
And
know why you would.
you're getting additional features for them still to do the same exact thing, and now you're also
Yeah,
giving them money. Those features are not
yeah.
worth that, at least not to me. But I don't. Hey,
I mean, there's cases like what is it, Spotify now? You pay them $10 a month and they still show you ads or still broadcast ads through your music,
Netflix.
and you're like, no, I just want to listen to my own music.
I
And
remember
there was the
Netflix
whole
doing that. Like,
yeah, like the
here's your tier. Oh well, now that's ad. Like you could
yeah, give
pay
us more money
more,
to
and
get
it's
out
like,
of
okay,
ads,
well
but
I
they're still
pay
tracking
more,
you
and
the
now they're
entire
doing.
time. Like it's mind-boggling that where it's like,
Yeah.
why can't I like we're now in a society where we rent everything. Everything is
Yeah.
monetized around ads and
Yeah.
collecting as much information about us as possible and being as creepy and invasive as possible because it's maximum extraction for the shareholders. Line goes up.
But again,
And
it's finite, and like
yeah, at the end of the
we
day,
just saw
society needs to ask,
We
like,
just saw X's CEO
what is
step
acceptable?
down. Like what
Yeah,
people are staying away not because of her, but because of him, and like I mean, X is a problem, but like
I think I said the
he's.
other day that Linda Yarachino,
I
I'm not
saw you say
entirely
this.
sure
Yeah,
how to pronounce her last name.
yeah, I saw you say
But
this.
yeah, like I think she was always set up to fail.
Oh
Like,
yeah, No, when they
She
when
was
they
always
announced that, I was like,
the
why?
patsy essentially.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and
so will the next person, because you
yeah,
can't. It's
like if Elon Musk is at the end of the day the ultimate person making all the decisions, then what is the CEO actually even doing?
well, and they've done the
Like,
damage, right? Unless they can come up with big companies, it's been shown over the last 30 years, big companies, even if they have a great idea, if it doesn't immediately start another revolution, they don't want it. It's only the little guys that are willing to take the risks,
yeah,
shooting to the top, and then they buy them out, right? And
yeah,
that's the little guys are
that's
the only.
capitalism. Like the only things
And
that get
X,
invested in now are the things that are going to become unicorns. Like no longer
yes,
are the VCs
yes,
looking for like the angel investments where
no,
it's like, oh yeah, we'll get 10x return maybe. They're looking
it's
for,
ridiculous.
100x or 1000x
But it
return on
worked on the
investment.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everything is as
There's
revolutionary as the internet.
yeah. And even then, was the internet necessarily that revolutionary? It's debatable. A lot of good came from it, a lot of bad came from it.
Still is.
Um, yeah. Like
But
at,
but we're
at the
we're
end of the
here
day,
talking
the internet is that embodiment of society's best and worst at the same time.
and trying to
Um,
merge all of those societies, and not nice. It's someone taking a hammer and being like, "Get together."
yeah, it's more or less a particle smasher or a
It
particle
is. Yeah.
accelerator,
Yeah,
shooting
yeah,
things
yeah, yeah.
together
It
and
is.
like
Yeah.
trying to create new matter. Uh, yeah, you're always going to get
And
competing interests and things like that.
and
So I think
all
that's a really good pivot point there of like what Mastodon is doing with founding the new nonprofit
yeah.
in Europe. That is a really good move
Yeah.
because it is very clearly like a line in the sand of saying, okay, well, we're not doing this for the explicit purposes of profit. Yes, everybody involved who's doing the work needs to get paid. That's a given. Like,
Yes.
we live in a capitalist society. We need to get paid. We need to make enough money to live on. I
Yes.
worked out personally the other day. I've been in a land of accounting nightmares lately. And I worked out that, this year to date, I've earned, the last time I did my books, it was up to 18,000. And I think now I'm standing at about 25,000 in the amount of money that I've earned in order to, as a freelancer, to pay my bills and put food on the table. And a good chunk of that money comes from the donations that people make to me in order to support my work on the Fediverse.
So, and here's the thing: is because the audience is from around the world, to some people that is an unquestionable godly amount, right? For
Mm,
me, as someone that has seen software developers in the United States, that is nothing. And I would
yeah.
assume Germany is closer to that. Like $25,000 sounds like a
So
lot, but I know in the States, that's pretty sure that's poverty level.
yeah, it basically is.
Yeah.
So when I started doing the work that and started trying to do the work in a way that is community funded, I put out a blog post. At the time, it was on Medium. Now it's on Ghost. But I put out this blog post trying to explain why I need to earn the amount of money that I need to earn. And when I
Yes.
looked at it, it's something like uh, 20 to 30% of my income goes to taxes. Another 15 to 20% goes to health insurance. So at the end of the day, I'm looking at maybe 50 to 40% of the total amount of revenue that I do.
So
But
you're
then I
living on
also
like
have
10
business
grand.
operating expenses that I have to take out of that. So, domain names, hosting, uh, software that I have to buy, office desk chair, whatever, all of those expenses come out of that. You know, every now and then you have to upgrade the hardware that you're on. Um,
What is, you have a donation link somewhere?
yeah, it's support.thisismissm.social.
Oh, there it
Um,
is. Okay.
yeah,
That's right.
that's the best way
I
for
did
people
see
to
that.
support me. The only thing that I'll note is Kofi is currently disabled. You can't support me through Kofi anymore. Um, basically the issue that I've run into there is Kofi doesn't do enough on the KYC/AML slash legal compliance that I need in order
Okay.
to do like as a freelancer, I have to have invoices for everything that
Yeah.
all of the money that I earn, and Kofi doesn't do invoices. Or like it does invoices only if you charge VAT,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something. It's really,
It's
really tricky
very,
around like
very
the
specific. And I
paper
mean,
trail.
for Kofi, I would assume it's also comes down to a financial perspective. Like Kofi is
Yep.
not massive either. They have Kofi's the
I mean
one that like you
the
can tack on a fee to help them,
yep.
right? So yeah.
Well, they already take a platform fee regardless, but you can
Okay, do they?
also increase that fee up to I think 10% of your earnings or something.
Yeah.
But like every step of the way, the amount of like um for instance, I support PayPal as a donation mechanism. If you donate 20 euros to me through PayPal, through my direct donation setup that I have,
Yeah.
uh, I see in my Stripe account at the end of the day, I think 17 euros.
Yeah, they take a ridiculous amount.
And then out of that, I have to account for the taxes and the health insurance and all of that stuff. And at the end of the day, the amount of money that actually ends up in my pocket is about 5 euros from a 20 euro donation. So it's not a whole lot of money that ends up percolating through all of the systems.
I've been told if you just lift yourself up by your bootstraps and you work harder.
Yeah. I mean, when I was getting started in the Fediverse back in 2023, I had savings of 16,000 euros, and I don't have those anymore. So in many ways, I've invested 16,000 euros in
Into the
building for the
Fediverse.
Fediverse and
Yeah.
trying to make software better and communities better and give us spaces that we can exist in that are safe
Are
and free from harms.
are free and open source software developers the new artists? You don't make any money on your code until you die.
I
I'm not
would,
saying that seriously, but like that's what it seems like.
I'd
It
hope
is a
not.
very
Um,
you have to be very technical and very hardworking to do something like that. And then as Blender pointed out, like even where he's in Israel, that's minimum wage.
yeah. So like the entry level software engineer in Germany, like junior software engineer, you're looking at 40 to 45,000 a year. Last year I made in total 52,000, I think, in profit. Sorry, 52,000 in revenue.
Revenue, yeah.
After everything, much less, but um, yeah, I basically have like spreadsheets and formulas and things like that set up to try and figure out like, am I making enough money to make this viable? Can I continue
Well,
doing the work that I'm doing?
and here's the thing that I absolutely love too is that there's so many people that are like, well, if you just wouldn't buy that avocado toast, or if you wouldn't buy that BMW, it's like, dude, I don't.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
just
buying
want to. I just.
avocado toast anyway because I'm allergic. Um, No, in the sense of
I.
I've got this.
But it's
You mentioned my MCAS before, and
yes,
I've got
yes.
this like huge list of foods that I can't eat anymore because they trigger an allergic reaction
And
because my
allergic
body
reactions
treats,
to you are not just little things; they are
yeah, it's coughing
debilitating.
fits, yeah, coughing fits and like
You're running.
bedridden
You're running
type stuff.
100 temperature fever right now.
Yeah, that's actually yeah, I
Like
did mention that before we started the call, which for some reason my body decides to have a fever today.
it's
Don't really know why.
it's
I
time.
haven't
You haven't
haven't
had one in a
particularly eaten
while.
anything.
Yeah.
Haven't particularly eaten anything that should trigger me, but there's a lot of pollen in the air, so maybe that's it.
And to be fair, you
Um,
have tried to live today. So that's, I mean, your body's attacking you
yeah,
for that.
yeah.
How dare you?
It's been quite a month of dealing with that because we've had an extremely bad allergy season here in Berlin.
Mm.
With like
So have
I
we.
look at the grass pollen levels because I've got
I
like different apps on my phone for grass pollen levels, and like I'm allergic generally. Like you know how they do that like little
yeah,
pinprick
yeah,
test
yeah,
of
yeah.
allergens. Yeah, like I'm generally allergic to dust and dander and grass pollen. You know, it's not going to send me into anaphylactic shock or anything, but you know, I react to it. I get hay fever,
No, and
as do many people. But
this is why like Amelia and I had this conversation. How long
Yeah.
ago did we talk? A month or two ago. It was a
Month
while.
ago, going like, can I
About
actually even do this call?
it is
Can
it
I
is
do this
a
interview?
day to day thing, if not hour to
Yep.
hour. Like the one day you said like I was totally fine, and then a couple hours later I was just I can't.
Yep.
Um, yeah,
Like,
I can't
and
imagine that.
energy levels and all sorts of things get affected. One of the symptoms that's really kind of concerning is the neurological stuff that can happen, where because MCAS can trigger anxiety, you can forget a lot of stuff. Um, so like
What?
I've been in meetings where I've been having or have had recently had
Yeah,
an MCAS attack, and I won't be able to recall things. And I'll be like,
yeah.
hey, can you actually recall this for me? Because I can't remember in this
I
direct moment.
yeah no. I
Um,
get anxiety so bad that I literally have to stop, and like I can get one or two words out at a time,
yeah,
and sometimes I stutter, and then people are like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" And it's like I'm my brain
the
completely just
the brain
skitzed out.
goes
I
like, yeah,
I need 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes. Well, you need this now.
yeah,
It's like, well, I'm not giving it to you now.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
dealing
that's the
dealing
thing.
with all of that has been hard, to say the least.
I love
Uh,
you have such a
it's
talent for understatement. You're allowed to say
yeah, yeah, like
it's
it's been a
massively
struggle.
life affecting.
Yeah, like I can't eat out. I can't go out and eat at a restaurant, for instance, because typically after eating food, I
Oh,
will have
you
a coughing fit,
and you don't
and
well, and you don't know what's in it.
yeah, that too. And like, like I said, I've got this list of foods that is basically like, does this food contain histamine or not? Um, a weird one that I had the other day was I was washing my hair in the shower and I started feeling itchy. Like, if you get like a lot of pollen on your skin and you start feeling itchy, if you're like allergic to pollen or whatever.
I just
Yeah, I
get
started getting that on my shoulders. I'm like, why am I feeling itchy? Like, what the hell is going on? I'm pretty sure I'm not allergic to anything in the same hair conditioner that I've been using for the last,
today you
six
are.
years.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? And I looked at the hair conditioner ingredients, and one of the ingredients was histidine, which is the precursor to histamine.
Oh my god.
And I was like, I looked it up further and was like, oh, okay, so histidine's in it because it can have an anti-inflammatory effect.
But it never
But
affected you until then.
no, never affected me until then, and it just happened to be my baseline histamine levels on that given day were high enough for me to have a reaction.
Oh, it just sets you off. Yeah.
Yep.
Did you try
Um,
walking it off?
unfortunately, that doesn't work.
Sorry,
It,
I'm a massive cynic, and I use sarcasm to make jokes when I
yeah.
feel
I mean,
horrified and sad, and
yeah, like,
I I
I
wish
used
I
to
could help.
I used to battle depression quite badly, both as a teenager
I can imagine.
and as a young adult. And one of the things that people always would say to me is, "Oh, have you tried exercise?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, that doesn't fix the underlying problems. That yeah, you may get some good endorphins for a couple of hours,
Well,
but then you're back to the same situation."
why are you depressed? It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, like all
Just
of
think
those sorts
happy.
of
It's like, oh well, shit. Why didn't you tell me
really,
that
really
earlier?
bad misunderstandings of
Yeah,
the science there and like how these things affect people.
yeah.
Um,
No,
so
no, that's it
yeah,
doesn't do
like
anything.
having to come to the realization that yes, I do have or most likely have a chronic health condition or a
Yeah,
chronic illness. That's been something to try and get my head around. Like I thought I was out of the woods last year after I got heart surgery, which was its own entire thing, uh, where
and for
I,
those that don't know, Amelia had heart surgery because her heart is so big that she is just loving everything so much that
yeah,
they're like, "Wow, you are just too compassionate. We can't handle that in society." So
yeah, I basically ended up going to a
so
doctor and like I'd gone to the doctors a lot and tried to say, hey, look, something weird's happening with my heart. Like it's beating at 230 beats a minute. And the doctor's like, nah, that's not right. Like, nah,
you don't know
nah,
how
I
to
don't, I
count.
don't, I don't really believe that.
Oh, you're
The
counting in
dismissiveness of
American
doctors.
numbers in your
Yeah,
speed
yeah.
reader. Yeah.
Yeah, or something like that. I'm like, no, this is like, or you must be using the equipment wrong. Blame the user of the equipment. And then I
Blame
went
the
into my
victim, right? Like that's the
yeah,
classic
like
thing. Yeah.
I went into my doctor's office and I did like I was sick of them dismissing me, so the next time it happened, I had the little pulse oximeter thing on my finger, and I recorded a short video of what my heart rate was doing on this pulse oximeter. Showed it to my doctor, and my doctor was like, "Ah, yeah, you should see a cardiologist. Here's a referral."
Yeah, you're doing that wrong. It's not supposed to go on your finger. It's supposed to go on your finger.
I mean, there are like legitimate reasons why you will get a misreading off one of these devices.
Well, I mean, it's an
For instance, nail
electronic.
polish.
Anything
Yeah,
can anything can
uh,
go bad, right? But
but the way that those work is they actually send I think it's
beam of
infrared
light.
or
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
beam
yeah.
of light through your finger in order to detect the changes in color, like the very
Right.
subtle changes in color. So certain colors of nail polish can change the reading. So like dark blue nail polish
Yes.
can give a misreading on a pulse oximeter. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so I had quite an eventful year last year where like I did that demo at Fedi Forum in September,
You yeah.
and uh, I think I did the demo in at Fedi Forum in September, and then a couple of days later, I was in hospital having my heart medically restarted, where I'd been taken to
Okay.
hospital by an ambulance, and they had to stop my heart medically and have it restart into a normal rhythm. And then that led me to getting surgery in October.
Wow.
So quite a year, but also oddly, a lot of the pull requests that I have open today are actually from September last year, where I ended up getting a lot of work done for some reason. August, September
Well, it's because your
period.
heart was beating so fast. You were about to go into the speed of light, and you
Apparently.
got a lot done. That's how it
Um,
works.
yeah, so
Wow. What is
uh
what is the best way for folks to support you or your work or whatever you want? I know you
it is
have the
literally
link.
donations. Like donating to support my work, that's the best way to support it. If I have the money to live on, and to do the things that enable me to live, then I can do the work that I'm doing and I can do it for free. Or like do
And
it in a way that you don't have to pay for the work that I'm producing.
you're still
Um,
focused on IFTAS, or what are you focused on right now?
at the moment, I am completely independent. Um, so over the last 6 months, I've been focused on my Fires grant, which is a grant that I received from EnelNet to develop a piece of trust and safety software
Okay.
for providing a mechanism through which we can share moderation advisories and recommendations um, in a distributed fashion.
Is
So,
okay, so that's like back end stuff. You don't have any kind of website for that right now that you're showing out, right?
yeah, you can actually
What,
go and read a website, fires.fedimod.org. Um, that is a thing, and essentially it's a protocol for sharing this information and synchronizing it between different software. So that's what I've been focusing on mainly this year, as well as a little bit of freelance work that I've had come in.
so if you
But
if tomorrow people gave you, infinite money, is this what you would want to work on, or is there
yeah,
something that you're more passionate about?
in general, this is what I'm doing at the moment.
Okay.
You did mention that I do have that company, Unobvious Technology. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, I don't know quite what I'm doing with it. Um, I had a lot of ideas back in 2020 that I wanted to do, but hit into regulatory hurdles and things like that. Um,
What, the government getting in
where
the way? No.
Well, let's just say Germany has had age verification on the books since 2008, I believe. Might be earlier, might be a little later, but if I was going to run any software, being that my company is based in Germany, we would have to do a lot of regulatory compliance on that side of things. And ultimately, a lot of the ideas that I tried to build failed. So I'm not sure what I'm doing with my company at the moment, whether it's continuing or not. It would be good to maybe see some of those ideas through, but
Yes.
you know, TBD. Uh,
Okay.
it's something where bootstrapping a company is fundamentally hard. Bootstrapping a company whilst working on a lot of open source software and having chronic health issues, next to
And
impossible.
the company is, as
Um,
you said earlier, targeted at marginalized individuals
yeah,
that a
like
lot of folks are not interested in really
yeah.
helping. And yeah,
Even getting advisors involved in the company was a uphill battle at one point. Uh,
Blender
which yeah.
Blender dumbass was asking if your, I think it's your donation page has an API call. Blender, I think you should reach out to talk about it.
So
Blender does a lot of like goals for his projects, but his goals are like once so and so gets so many follows, we go to the next step. It's not
yeah,
like you have to give me so
so
much money. So I'm thinking he wants
yeah,
to work with you on like whatever his next goal is to help you out.
yeah. So because I have multiple different channels through which I get donations, GitHub sponsors, Ko-fi,
Yeah.
Stripe directly. There's actually like behind that, there's three different Stripe accounts because you end up with an account per connected service. Um, it's all managed from one root account, but it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
multiple
yeah.
different accounts. So
Yeah.
like getting an accurate count of the
All of it
money,
together. Yeah.
all of it together, there isn't like one API call I can do to get how much people have donated in a given month across all of the different
Right, right, right,
platforms. It is something that I can do and like get reports and all of that for my accounting purposes, but
right.
it's not really something that I can put up like a little counter bar thing,
Yeah,
etc.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
At the moment, the numbers run as something like 1,500-ish per month is the donation income. Um, and
And
that number fluctuates, but the target for it is to try and get it up to 3,000. And then that means that I'm
so,
doing an extra 2 to 3,000 per month in freelance billables
okay.
or working on grants or
And
things like that.
any of it helps. What is the, so that
Like
site you
at
subscribe
the
to
end of
and
the
it goes to
day,
different payments?
yeah, at the end of the day, I'm not doing this work to get rich at all. I've got
Right.
that magic number in my head of if I earn this amount of money, I'm going to be happy and safe and not
You
have to
can
worry about day-to-day things.
you can buy that avocado toast and
Um,
then throw it in the trash.
Yeah. Or like, you know, you can treat yourself just that little bit and be happy.
Yeah.
For me, that number is somewhere around about the 70,000 mark, 70,000 euros per year.
Okay. Blender's
Sure.
asking if you're on Matrix.
I am on Matrix. I'm in the IFTAS Matrix space. That's probably the best place to
Oh, I
find
didn't even know
me.
IFTAS is. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
we'll find
IFTAS
it.
has a Matrix chat. I'm also in the Fedi devs Matrix space as well. But yeah,
I am in Fiverse. Okay.
Um, at the end of the day, I was trying to do monthly reports, like little blog posts saying, here's what I've worked on, here's how much money I've earned, all of
Sure.
that stuff. Like,
Transparency.
yeah,
It's important.
it is good to have transparency, but what I ended up realizing was those posts weren't really being read by anyone, and it would take me about a day to prepare them.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a good use of my time. Like
Yeah.
I ended up stopping them, and
So
I'm kind of looking at doing them maybe every half year or every quarter
I
or
would say every quarter.
every year.
Yeah.
Uh,
What did
but
you
then
say
it's
you were
like,
doing quarterly? Or you were doing
no,
weekly? You were doing weekly.
it was
Yeah.
monthly before that I was
Oh,
doing these.
monthly. Okay. Yeah.
And
I
now
would
I
bump it
now
back
I
to quarterly, and if no one still reads them, bump it back to 6 months, and then
yeah. Uh, at the
that's
moment,
whew,
what I'm going with is just if someone asks me, then I can tell them what I've been working on.
yeah,
If I've worked on something that I think is big and meaningful, then I'll do a post about it and I'll say, "Hey, this is supported by my sponsors."
yeah.
Um, and that sort of stuff helps. Uh, I am going to have some availability for freelance work coming up in end of month. So that is also something that, if you've got a product that you want to build and you need someone to help you figure out how to build it, that's sort of my sweet spot. Um,
Okay.
I don't know if in preparation for this call you looked at my LinkedIn, but yeah, my history is
No,
in building and launching startups.
no
So like,
offense. I don't do LinkedIn,
I,
but I
I
understand you
think
have to be on there. Yeah.
yeah, like I've got like past employers list of like 24 different companies at this point
Oh wow.
where I've joined and I've built and I've launched and I've gotten an idea out there.
Sure.
Um, it's not something I do a lot of anymore, but doing anything consultancy related around OAuth, OpenID, Connect,
Hmm.
all of those sorts of things, that's kind of my bread and butter.
Okay.
Um,
Which gets you the most? Credit card, which I'm assuming is through Stripe, or PayPal? You already said takes like 30%.
yeah, so credit card is the better payment method rather than
Okay.
PayPal. Like I have PayPal because people ask for it, but yeah, PayPal does take a higher cut of
No,
fees.
that's what I've found, and I was telling
Um,
others like I've with BT Free, I'm working on setting up all of them because even
yeah,
though we know they all function the same, people are just like, well, I only use PayPal, or I only use
yeah,
Patreon, or I only use this. It's like, okay, I don't know
yeah,
why.
and then your
Like it's
bookkeeping is nightmare territory.
yeah.
Like I think I reconcile something like 80 invoices a month,
Oh my
ranging
god.
from like five, I think the lowest is €5 and the highest is €250. And yeah, it's a lot of bookkeeping, a lot of accounting management work.
Okay.
And at the moment, I'm actually having to redo all of my bookkeeping for the last 2 years.
I saw you mention that, and
Yeah. Uh,
Elena Rossini was like, "How can we help?" Like she's everywhere, just going like,
pray
"How can I
for
help?
me.
How can I help?"
Um,
Right? Yeah, it's like there's
yeah,
unless you
yeah,
hire me an accountant right now that understands all of this
yeah.
stuff, and even then,
Uh,
like they're very limited in what they do. Right? It's like, yeah, it's
yeah, basically the issue there was I used a piece of accounting software that was designed for freelancers, and it was working, and I was keeping all of my books. I keep pretty clean books. Um, but then I went to do my VAT return for 2024, and it was like, yeah, you're going to owe 3,500 in VAT. And I was like, what? And it was because the software had automatically classified everything as being liable for VAT, even though there was no supply of services or
yeah,
no consideration given.
yeah,
Like, I don't publish a list of the people that donate to me. A, because when I've asked people if they want to be on such a list, they've said no. Like, they don't care. They just want to support my work. And B, because that would be giving consideration or advertising. And if I do that, then that is liable for that. Um, so, I don't provide any services directly. Like, if you do go to the support.thisismsm.social page,
hmm
there are two options there for hiring me, server
one-time
maintenance
support.
and helping, I will help you upgrade your Mastodon server, or help you investigate bugs in Mastodon or Hollow or various other projects that I'm involved in.
hmm
Um, if I do that, then that is actually not a donation. That is freelance revenue, and therefore I do charge VAT and taxes and all of that on that. Um, but yeah, for the donations, it was actually categorizing, for instance, the money that I received from the grant from NLNet as requiring VAT payment. And I was like, no, that's a government grant. There's specific
They got to
legislation
fix all of
that
it.
exempts that from VAT, or I'm not sure if it's exempting it from that, but it's like
Yeah.
that does not apply to this income.
Okay.
So my accounting software got that wrong, and when I tried to talk to them and get them and go, hey, look, I have this income and I don't know how to file it in your software to make your software do the right thing. The company that provided this software was like, oh, well, you have to manually reprocess every single one of these invoices. It was about 1,000 for a year or something close to that. You have
Yeah.
to manually reprocess all of these and then categorize them as interest. And I was like, what? No, this is donation income. It's not interest from
Yeah.
like
From an
money sitting in a
account.
bank account.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, like what? You want
Jeez.
me to reprocess all of the invoices that I've had in a year and deliberately miscategorize them once more, just so that that doesn't apply to them. I was like, no, that's not right. Um, and then I ended up joining a webinar for this same accounting software. They have a very memorable name. because the word account is part of their name. Um, and in their webinar, the person that was talking about their software was like, they were getting a lot of questions, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, I would just ask ChatGTP this," and I was like, "Sorry, what?"
What the
Uh, so 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 I asked them as a question, where does the liability lie if I use ChatGTP to help me with filing my taxes? Who's liable if ChatGTP gives me the wrong information?
You
Because
are.
it does hallucinate and stuff.
I
And
hate that term, by the way. It's wrong.
the yeah,
This
it
makes up wrong
produces
answers.
absolute garbage. Um, like, and I asked this question, and they responded back, "Oh, well, you should use our own AI instead." And I was just like, "Okay, table flip. Like, I'm out of here." Like,
They're very
um,
helpful.
you know, not very helpful. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if you are using those services for anything, you're liable for whatever information you put out in the world.
Yep.
So
It's
whether that's on
fun
your taxes,
stuff.
whether that's in court, just because you asked ChatGTP doesn't remove the liability that you have for having accurate and correct information.
Well,
So,
that's just like, how do people not realize this yet? Your GPS, we've had GPS for 30 years, and it
yeah,
tells you if
I
it
mean,
is telling you to drive off a bridge, don't drive
there
off a
was literally a case.
bridge.
There was literally a legal case in the US
Yep.
where someone sued, I think the makers of Garmin or something,
Yep. For going
because the
into a lake.
GPS drove them off a bridge. Literally, there was no
Mm-hmm.
bridge there, and it thought that there was a bridge there, and the person drove off. And the
Yep.
question is, well, surely you realize that there was no road underneath your car at some point, but apparently not. I
We
can't
have to
remember the
put
outcome of that case.
we have to put warnings on hair dryers saying don't take them in the bathtub. Gorilla Glue
Yep.
has to now put a warning. Don't use this on your head.
Yeah.
Like takes all kinds, man.
Um, yeah. It is one of those things of like, at the end of the day, you're responsible for how you use
Yep.
products and technologies and services and all of those things.
Well,
And
and you're not an expert.
uh,
You're not a lawyer.
yeah,
You're not an accountant, but yet you're still responsible for it. Just like the terms of service with everything. Did you read
yep.
it? No. Fuck no. No one reads it. Okay,
There's
well, you're still responsible for it.
what's that website? There's that fantastic website that's like terms of service didn't read.
Oh yeah, I actually have the plugin.
Uh,
Yeah.
TOSDR, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, which tries to summarize a lot of the things around terms of service agreements.
Well, and then things like
Um,
Facebook, they it would take years to actually read it. Just read it,
yeah,
not even interpret it.
yeah, and
This place
like
is
this
ridiculous.
also gets back to that thing of companies protecting themselves. Like
Yep,
the terms of service
from
isn't to
everything.
protect you, it is to
It's to
protect the
protect them.
company.
Yep, 100%.
Um, there is actually legislation in the EU now, which is that terms of services have to have to not follow, but there's like a regulation around them,
Good.
where, for instance, a terms of service cannot be one-sided. It can't say, oh, for like
What about forced
for
arbitration?
yeah, forced
That's a
arbitration,
fun one.
or for instance, you can't grant the company in perpetuity license to absolutely everything in your life and then not get any compensation for it because of,
Yeah,
whatever. I came across that website doing some research the other day and was like,
what
oh, that's
is?
interesting.
Yeah,
There's like
it is.
15 points of things that you can and cannot do in the terms of service document. Um, but still, we see people doing, here's a boilerplate terms of service document and like generate this document for me and just copy and paste it without
Without even
understanding and
reading
getting
it.
legal advice.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you're running a service, you probably want to consult a lawyer. You probably want to
Yeah.
have some legal advice. Um,
Just directed at me.
no, no, at everybody.
Yeah.
Like, uh, yeah, like if you just take whatever template is online and you don't understand the contents of it, and you think you understand it but you don't, then you can get yourself into all sorts of hot water. And that's also something that IFTAS has tried to help in some ways of like we've consulted lawyers on the Fediverse's behalf to try and figure out what is the legal standing on these things. You know, working with people that actually do have legal knowledge
and
to interpret the laws and the responsibilities and things like that.
and the fun thing is even if a lawyer tells you something, that might not be accurate.
Mm,
Like best intentions
that
matter in
is
a
true
lot
as
of
well.
these
Like
cases, but
a lot of the legal basis that you'll get from a lawyer will be based on their experience.
yep,
And sometimes the stuff that we do in the Fediverse
it's
is completely
completely
new to them.
new. Yep. It could be
Um,
completely new to the laws. Like, how
yeah.
do you apply? I mean, a lot of the hacking cases, right? They still apply the laws for telephone hacking, which
Yes.
it's wholly different, but
I mean,
is
freaking
not.
was an entire thing. It's
Yeah,
fantastic to learn about the history of
yeah,
that. Um, I
yeah.
will admit to having watched Hackers a couple of times now.
Oh, I grew up with hackers.
Yeah, like I mean, everybody loved Justine Jolie in that movie. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I'm not sure if it aged well.
Oh
Uh,
no, it's. I mean, don't take it as a technical movie. Take it as just a fun, ridiculous movie, in my
yeah,
opinion.
like it's a fun, ridiculous movie. The plot now feels a bit weird, like them all freaking out about an oil tanker. Uh,
We've
that's
had
not
that,
something on society's mind right now, really.
and I mean, it happens all the time, and no
But
one seems to give a shit. So
right, but in the 90s, that was a big major thing of the ecological disasters that we were having with oil tankers and like Exxon
yeah,
Valdez and all of that stuff. That was forefront of a lot of people's minds. But now it's like not there because we've got other concerns and other worries to worry about.
everything.
Yeah, there's like you've got a glass and like you can put different topics inside that glass and you have to pick and choose what you're going to pay attention to and
Right. Yep.
what you
100%.
can work on and can change.
Yep. Yep. All
Yeah.
right. Now, for the real reason I asked Amelia here is to give her the opportunity to win a prize of a lifetime.
Oh,
Our
fun.
our prize today is a pot of gold from the end of a rainbow.
Ooh,
I
haven't
thought,
managed to chase after one of those yet.
well, we'll have to
I'm
find
still
out.
looking.
We thought about a hacked AI that thinks it's a pachyderm, but I know you're already full with hachyderm, so I didn't think that would. You'd want another behemoth to focus on. So, you ready for the
Yeah,
quiz?
probably. Yep,
All
let's
right.
go.
Favorite movie and why is it Spaceballs? I already know the answer, but
It's not Spaceballs. I cannot name a favorite movie off the top of head. But there is one which is set in Australia,
Mad
which has a
Max.
catchy song in it, and it's a romance
Mad Max.
movie. I forget who it has in it, but um, uh, I just thought it was a nice movie. Even though
Okay.
it's like a very stereotypical rom-com, uh,
Rom-coms would
yeah,
be fine. Yeah.
you know,
All right.
yeah, I wouldn't say I have a favorite movie because typically I can only watch things once because I've got a bit of a photographic memory, and if I
Well,
know
we'll
what's going to
just.
happen in the movie, then
I mean,
you
I know
know,
what happens in Spaceballs, and I still laugh my ass off at it. So, if you don't have a favorite movie, we can just say it's Spaceballs.
yeah, I don't think we're going to do that. I've never seen Spaceballs. Um, but there was that case of me opening up one of the streaming services and I was like, movies recommended for you, Spaceballs.
Spaceballs.
And I was like, how do they know?
you, yeah, we talked about that, didn't we?
Like
Or
I'd
I saw you
never looked
message or something. Yeah.
yeah, I'd never looked up Spaceballs. I don't think I'd even looked it
No
up on
one's
IMDb at that
the
point.
closest you've been to Spaceballs is me, and
Yeah,
now for the next week too, you're gonna be getting Spaceballs recommendations.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Who the hell knows why? But all right, next question: AI, NFT, or metaverse?
Oh goodness. Is this a fuck, marry, kill?
This is whatever you want it to be.
Oof, okay. To be honest, none of them.
Okay,
Uh,
that's an answer.
like the metaverse is to me kind of weird, and it's like recreating a offline space online, and like, have you ever watched the TV show Upload?
Yes,
Um, yeah,
yes,
they have those like
yep,
goggles, go like the infra the
yep.
um alternate reality goggles, and they wear like the scuba diver swimsuit thing that has
Yep.
all the sensors to like stimulate touch.
But
That's that feels a
having
little bit weird to me.
that's
I'm not gonna
it's.
lie.
I mean, they're
Like,
going after the Ready Player One thing, but to me, like
yeah,
one company controlling all of that just sounds disgusting.
yeah, it's creepy and like
Like people don't
yeah,
think about that. I
I
guess I
can't
don't
get
know.
on board with the metaverse.
No, I can't get on board with any of them. I think they're all awful.
Uh, yeah, like
It's all about control.
AI is a definite grift, and I
I,
think the article I read the other day about it being compared to subprime mortgages is spot on, in that everybody is adding AI stuff to their products at the moment
oh, I mean, it's not even
because
subprime
and
mortgages. It's
and
blockchain and
it
NFT
well no,
and that. Yeah,
it's like
that's
the all
it's
of
not
the
going to
stuff
go
that they're
anywhere.
doing around AI and stuffing AI into everything. At some point, the free tier of AI is going to disappear because it costs a ridiculous
Just
amount of
about.
money to
Yep.
run this stuff on servers. You
Everyone
know,
is just trying to
consumes
get.
an inordinate amount of resources. So
Everyone's
at
just
some
trying to
point,
get
that's
the
going to
market
fail.
share. Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. I totally agree.
And at some point, someone's going to be left holding the bag of, well, we did all this stuff, but we have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
No, and
think it's
someone
gonna
pointed out like this makes no sense for Google to go into
no,
because it's literally against their entire model.
yeah, well, yeah,
You
like
search something, you
it
find
ruins
an ad.
advertising revenue for them.
Yeah.
It ruins search revenue for them, and it
I mean,
just
unless you're going to manipulate it like, where's the best place to eat? Well, we're sponsored by Arby's, so we'll say
right,
Arby's and it becomes useless.
right.
Like, so then you just have to
So
lie to people.
yeah, I mean, there's the case as well of what is it? The recent
It's a joke.
modifications to Grok, where Grok will now consult Elon Musk's tweets to figure out what it should say on sensitive issues. And I'm like, who is taking any of this seriously? Like,
It called itself Mecha
there are
Hitler.
niche applications of this technology where it can be
Yes,
useful and actually
just
benefit society.
just like blockchain, just like metaverse. I
Yeah,
mean, there is a slim thing
but
where people
it
have
is not a
found
mass
that there
market
are
thing.
therapeutic reasons to have something where you are immersed in a universe to overcome phobias and things like that.
Yeah,
You
like
are not going to spread it everywhere. It is not
no,
going to solve shit.
no. And like
I'm glad I asked this though. This is a good
on
conversation.
blockchains and NFTs, once again, there are some use cases where that
Yes.
technology has its use.
And yeah,
Finance is probably not one of them, to be honest.
no.
Nobody wants a JPEG that doesn't really exist and doesn't really belong to you, and you don't really own it. Like,
And there were
that is
some
not
people that
really
did,
an
but
art class. Like,
no.
if you buy a painting, then that painting obviously can have value because it's something you can hold and you can trade.
And it's one of a kind usually.
Yeah, and it's one of a kind. It's a unique item.
Yep, these people don't get that. Well, I mean, the comic book industry in the 90s, they almost crashed themselves because they started
Right.
making the same comic book with 16 different covers and saying you got to collect them all. And everyone's like, I just want to read the stories, man.
Yeah, like it's there are cases
Time and
where
time again.
collectibles are a thing, but it's a niche. It's
Yeah.
not a mass market thing. So
And you're
yeah,
never
as
going to
far as
guess
all
the
of
next
them,
one.
yeah.
All
Okay,
right.
so next question.
Trust or safety?
Trust or safety? You can't have one without the other.
I knew that was coming. I was going to say, I thought you were going to say trust
Like,
is safety and safety is trust or something like that.
well, yeah, it is an
No, no, no.
inexplicable
That's,
link
yeah,
between the two of them. They're
they go hand in hand.
like yeah, like if you try and do safety without trust or without being trustworthy, then you're probably going to be making someone unsafe somewhere.
Yeah.
If you try and do trust without safety, then you're not really doing anything apart from getting people to believe you.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I agree.
I guess that just makes you an NFT grifter if you're just doing trust. Believe me, this thing is going to be worth a lot
It's
in
gonna
a
be
couple of years'
good. Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's going to
Just
be
give me,
good.
I need to make the line go up. So donate $10 and then donate another $10 and then donate another 10. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. No, it.
No.
Anyway, what does an alternate universe Amelia do?
What does an alternate universe Amelia do? Have you ever heard of that theory that our dreams are insights into alternative realities?
I never heard that theory, but I was literally thinking that a couple of weeks ago, and I wasn't
Right. So
high or
like
anything, so I'm very proud
so
of myself. But donate
I don't
$10 to
know
other
the
people. Yeah,
full story here, but there's something like when we dream, we are actually seeing our
doorways
like
into other
in parallel
dimensions. Yeah,
universes, like we're
yep,
seeing their perception.
right.
Um,
Well,
so the question of like, what does Amelia in a different universe do? I really don't know, because I don't even know if I would be Amelia or not.
it's fair.
That is to
Well,
say, yeah, sometimes I have dreams and the person
if
in the dream is not me.
I told my wife this morning, I had a crazy dream. If that is true, there is a version of me somewhere that just married my wife and an ex girlfriend from 20 years ago and didn't even realize it somehow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, best luck to
Uh,
him. But so I reached out to an alternate universe. I have an alternate universe phone right
yep.
here. Don't ask; it's very complicated. And alternate universe Amelia is a code brander. I
A
asked her what
code
that.
brander
A,
rather than a branded code?
yeah, I asked her what
Hmm.
it meant, and she said she heats up an iron brand, and then a software developer brings their code, and she has to brand the code and the developer. And this sounds
Ooh.
horrific, but it's made her world completely free of software bugs because who the hell wants to be branded more than once? Very
Yeah,
limited lifetime
I
value.
think there's a market for getting branded more than once. I'm pretty sure it's someone's kink out there.
That's,
Like,
again, I figured
I'm
you were
pretty
gonna
sure it's
like
someone's
talk
kink.
about that. I figured you
But
like kind of like this idea, but yeah.
uh, yeah, no, it's not really my thing.
No, okay. Well, it is alternate
I,
universes, Amelia.
I'm
So
probably gonna stay away from hot pokey things,
you
to be
might be
honest.
allergic.
I don't think it's allergic if you blister.
Maybe it's a
I
severe
think that's a
allergy.
physiological thing rather than an
No,
allergy
it's just an allergy.
thing.
Walk it off. All right. Good luck
Take a couple of
to
deep breaths.
alternate universe. Yeah, it's all going to be okay. Thank you.
Yeah, like just chew down on this little strap and like maybe we'll sell your no, I'm I'm not even gonna go there.
Next question before this gets even
Weird.
crazier than it is. RFCs, we're talking RFCs here 1097, 1149, 2549, or 2324.
Uh okay, I'm trying to remember these. I think the 10 one was something to do with email.
Nope.
Nope. Are these all HTTP RFCs?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. So I'd probably take the latest number, hopefully. But I don't like I can
The
probably
latest
number
number
and name the
2320.
OAuth
Oh,
related
yeah, I had no
RFCs.
idea you would remember. Okay, so RFC 2324. So why did you pick Hypertext Coffee Pot Control Protocol?
Because it's fun. Um,
For
like
those
at
that
the end of
don't
the
know,
day,
this is an RFC that like you can send a message that says this is a coffee pot.
yeah, there's a HTTP status code where a server can
What
respond
is
back, "I'm a coffee pot,"
it?
to let you know that you can brew or collect a cup of coffee at that server. I
And
think it works best in university break rooms.
this is yeah. So
Um,
this is a historical context where one of the first streaming videos was of a coffee pot because a guy
yeah,
wanted to know whether the coffee was
whether
ready
there
or
was any
not.
coffee and whether or
Yeah,
not it had to be made, and it became a bit of a I guess social contagion or like
yeah,
viral video at the time. Like people,
yeah,
loads of people were checking this feed to see is the coffee pot being refilled.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So just to let you
we
know,
seek entertainment in all sorts of ways.
the ones you missed out on, 1097 Telnet subliminal message option.
Ooh, okay.
1149, a standard for the transmission of IP datagrams on avian carrier.
That's a good one as well. Yep.
That one is my
Uh,
favorite, I'll admit.
I did once work at a real-time web company doing
Oh no, wait,
WebSocket stuff.
I'm wrong.
And one of the conversations we had was, what is the fastest we can deliver a message? And we actually did the maths to work out that we'd have at minimum 17 millisecond latency around the world,
Yep.
because that was how long it took the light to travel in the internet tubes.
Yeah.
Um,
there was
There's the same thing for satellite and like Starlink, and the
one
reason why Starlink is where it is in the orbit
one of
is
the
because of the
companies
time it takes light to travel.
one of the companies that I worked for, their remote site had a data issue. And we're like, okay, well, we can upload it. And another guy was like, no, I'm just going to drive there. He's 10 hours
Yeah,
away. And he's like, yeah, but you're talking petabytes. Like, I can literally go get a whole bunch of hard drives, copy it, and drive it there faster.
yeah.
Then, oh, okay.
I
So
mean, one of the big.
did you say the last one that I listed or the highest number? Because I might have gotten that wrong.
I went for the highest number
Okay, so I'm
because
wrong.
usually the highest number will be the RFC that obsoletes previous RFCs.
So
You always want to kind of stay up to date.
2324, as I said, was the hypertext coffee pot control protocol. So I was wrong because the highest number was 2549. And that is
2549.
IP over avian carriers with
Really?
quality of service.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
So I'm guessing that that obsoleted a previous RFC for
that
avian
obsolete.
carrier,
I
IP
don't know
over
if it
avian,
I think it actually extends
or
it.
updates it, I
Yeah,
guess. Yeah. Because there was one version of IP over avian carrier that is
that was the
significantly
1149.
older than the coffee pot one, I
Oh,
think.
really?
I think so, yeah.
The only one that I know of is 1149, and that. Oh yeah, that does predate coffee pot.
Yeah.
1149 is the standard IP over avian carrier. I love that one.
Yeah.
1990. See, engineers can have fun.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how often we throw jokes into software.
Next question, and I'll have the link to that in the description because I think that that's very important.
Hmm.
Everyone needs to know their humorous RFCs.
I mean, the
Last,
only RFC that I really want to push people towards at the moment is 8414, which is authorization server metadata for OAuth.
oh,
And that's
okay,
important because it enables clients to discover the features that are supported by an authorization server. So
okay.
if you have software that talks to like multiple different Mastodon or Fediverse software,
Mm-hmm.
you do need to do negotiation with each of those bits of software to say, hey, what features do you actually support? And that's the standard for figuring that out.
Okay,
Um, yeah.
I'll link that too. And if I don't, ping me and I'll remember to link it after you tell me. So I won't remember, but you'll remind me. Um, as usual, the last question will be sent telepathically to Amelia. Once I send it,
This is going to be difficult. We do have thick walls here.
well, we're both
Lots of
telepathic, and
insulation.
we know that telepathy works instantly, so it shouldn't.
Hmm.
I mean, it's better than quantum level. But once I ask the question, I'll let you know that it arrived. You'll know because you get it. But for audio listeners, that will let them know that they need to wait. Why this makes
Okay.
sense? I don't know. I've said it for 30 episodes, and we're going to keep going with it.
We're doing IP over telepathy now, I guess.
Yeah. All right.
I see another RFC coming along.
All right.
I've only written one internet draft,
There you go. All
but it
right.
got widely adopted.
Are
So
you
that's
are
fun.
you ready? Are your receptors ready for this? Okay, here comes.
I can try.
Okay, take your time, think about it carefully, and then tell me the answer.
Why are you wearing a blue shirt?
That's
I
it.
don't think that was the question.
No. That's an interesting. That was exactly the question.
Hmm.
Was shit. No, now you're throwing it back at me. That is the good answer to the question of how do you ask
I
someone why they're wearing
in
a blue shirt?
fairness,
And you said, why are you wearing a blue shirt? And that is a great answer. Good job.
I was watching an episode of White Collar earlier,
And,
which is a sort of crime show, and they did this thing where they were trying to draw attention to a specific thing, and they were doing things like true blue, 1, 2, and all of these rhyming sort of things to try and get your brain to pick a certain thing. So maybe I just fell victim to that. I
no,
don't
well,
know.
and for our audio
Um,
listeners, I am wearing a blue shirt, and I hate to disappoint every single dad in the world, but my kids did give me the shirt that said "World's Best Dad." So sorry, everyone else out there. I am the world's best dad because I have the shirt.
they also
Because
gave you minions.
yes, they do have minions. They are my minions. So congratulations, you got every answer either correct or incorrect. Good job.
Or correctly
Unfortunately,
incorrect.
oh, there you go. I
That's a
love
fun
that.
one.
I might steal that. Correctly
Mm.
incorrect. Yeah, we're gonna do that. That's gonna tie my tongue. That's gonna tie my tongue up. Uh, Unfortunately, speaking of minions, I sent them out to capture the pot of gold, but they both came back saying they could never find the end of the rainbow. Sure,
Hmm.
they're only 5 and 8, but that's not an excuse in my opinion. So I'll make sure to
Is that
punish my
child labor laws?
I'll make sure to punish my children appropriately. No, they're mine.
Okay, yeah.
I'll make sure to punish them appropriately for not acquiring your prize. So,
I
but
think the reward for that is candy. They did try hard. They do get a reward.
there's no try in this world. It's only do or
Oh.
do not.
Oh, Master Yoda. Okay, fine. Okay, so I've not seen Spaceballs, but I have
Yeah, I've
definitely
seen
seen Star
Star
Wars.
Wars. Okay, yeah, everyone. Wow, everyone has. It's crazy how it affects our culture. But that's it for today. I want to thank Emelia so much for coming. It's been massively insightful. It's been massively interesting. I greatly appreciate having you on. I greatly appreciate you giving us the time, especially with a 100-degree temperature right now. Thank you so much for all you do. I know you do a lot in the background that most people never see, and we're
Probably a
all
good 90% of the work I do, nobody ever sees, or
and
like very few people see. So,
and we're all better off for it without people realizing it. So if you can, go and support Emelia so she can continue to do amazing work for all of us. Don't forget to um, donate to your admins, your developers, your whoever needs donations. I was seeing,
at the end of the
social
day,
outreach yesterday
yeah,
going
at the end
around.
of the day, we need to support the world that we want to see and the
Yes,
world that we want to live in. We have to build a better future for ourselves.
and it does cost money, guys, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, and as Amelia said, pretty much every single developer that I've talked to that's giving their code away for free is not doing it to be a millionaire. If they were, they'd be in a whole different position and would not be here. They'd be building
I
the
mean, the
next
guy that
AI.
founded Laravel did all right.
I mean,
The
Red
founder of
Hat.
Laravel is a multi-billionaire.
I mean,
Um,
the guy that founded Red Hat, right?
yeah.
Too. So, but thank you again to everyone. Thank you so much to all of you in the Fediverse and other places that are watching this. Please, I hate saying this, don't forget to like, subscribe. More importantly, don't forget to share. Let me know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. If there's anyone you would like to see, reach out to Emelia, help Emelia any way you can. Help each other. Just reach out to someone else next to you and help them. Everyone needs help sometimes. Remember, you are perfectly you. Never stop learning, never stop moving forward. And remember, we're all limited in some way. Separately, we can't do everything, but together we can do anything. Thank you all so much, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Ciao.